Hey guys, I'm going to go over the best answers for the review questions that I assigned. Hopefully this is working. It says, look closely at the descriptions of conservation and environmentalism. Why do you think many times these terms can be used interchangeably? So they're both about, basically protecting the environment. So that's why they can be used interchangeably, is because they're both about, protecting the environment in some way. The only way they're different is with their motive, right? So conservation, the motive is kind of human-centered. What are we going to be able to get out of it now and or in the future? And environmentalism is just purely for the good of the planet, for the good of the environment, without regard for human life. So again, they can be used interchangeably because a lot of times the result is the same, right? We're trying to protect the environment. Second one, let's say New Mexico has a volcanic eruption and that a volcano forms a new island in the tropical Pacific Ocean at about the same time. What type of succession will follow? Well, they both start with a volcanic eruption, so there's going to be some lava there, and so we're going to have bare rock. So they would both start primary succession because they're both starting with newly formed rock from lava. But how might the process be different? Well, New Mexico is probably never going to develop into a lush tropical rainforest. They don't have enough rain, right? So the process is going to be different because they have different climates. And so, like I said, New Mexico might cap out at a desert, maybe some shrubs, whereas a new island in the tropical Pacific Ocean, if I give it, hundreds of years, it might eventually form a rainforest. Or you could have talked about that the island has no access to seeds. So that's going to really, really slow things down. It's probably far away from anywhere. So even though lichens and mosses could start growing there right away, they might not for a long time just because they don't have access. Whereas this volcano in New Mexico is probably surrounded by deserts / shrubland where there's already lots of living things. So things could kind of move in right away. And so those things are going to be pretty different just depending on the climate and their proximity to different things. 3, describe what carrying capacity means. Well, carrying capacity is for a certain area and a certain species, how many of them could live there well? How many could live there maybe indefinitely? What determines it? Well, what determines it is the availability of resources. Okay, if there's lots and lots of resources available, that carrying capacity can be very large. If there's not that many resources available, that population is going to stay pretty small. And the Liebig law of minimum says it's actually not all of the resources that determine carrying capacity, but really it's just the most scarce or the very, very most limiting resource that determines the carrying capacity for that species. And the fourth one, a new species is introduced into an ecosystem if it fills the same niche as an existing species. Oh, that's not an if. It fills the same niche as an existing species. Explain what will happen over time between the two species. Use the idea of competitive exclusion in your answers. Well, if they're trying to fill the same exact niche, that means they're trying to live in the same places. They're trying to hunt the same things. They are both prey to the same things. And so there's going to be competition, right? So think about maybe this is a prey species, right? If they're both have some predator that would like to eat them both, one of them is going to be a little bit quicker, a little bit better at hiding, somehow better able to elude that predator, right? So if we kind of zero in on that idea, the one that is better at hiding and all that stuff is going to get to survive. And so the other species is going to have to either go extinct, sad, leave, go somewhere where that other species is not, or adapt and do something different, use a different food source, hide differently, run differently, whatever. All right, guys, that's it. Our test is going to be Friday.